The Bears are like, damn it, we let another one go.
Yeah. That's how we
Typical
end up,
Chicago shit.
You end up on the Patriots that way.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
So we're gonna do a quick little transition here. So talking about defensive players and contracts. Another thing that was brought up is because Aaron Donald is holding out for a new contract. He wants to be the highest paid defensive player in the league, and it was brought up. It was like, why are defensive players so underpaid compared to offensive players? And AK actually did a lot of research, and he found out that actually is not the case.
It's actually very far from the truth.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, before I looked up the stats, I figured, they're probably paid somewhat decent. But then when I went through the contracts, and it's the funny thing is most of the highest paid players are all defensive linemen.
As they should be, honestly.
You got Von Miller, $19 million a year with a $42 million guarantee. Ezekiel Anseth, $17 million a year, $17 million guaranteed. Another one that stands out, Oliver Vernon, $17 million a year, $40 million guaranteed. I mean, and you got J.J. Watt. He's not even the highest paid defensive player. He's got $16 million a year, $31 million guaranteed. So he's got a high guaranteed. But I mean, you look at this, and they're just not out there like that.
Yeah.
It's just like we talked about before. Everybody highlights the offense. Nobody highlights defense anymore. Obviously, they're trying to put defense in the back corner that nobody ever looks in, that's got all the shit piled up to the ceiling because they don't want to look at it anymore. That's basically what they're doing to the defense. So You're looking at these contracts. The only one that people might know is obviously Josh Norman, $15 million a year, $50 million guaranteed. But let me read this off to you now and tell me who this player might potentially even be, because you would never guess. $14 million a year, $45 million guaranteed, defensive back. You would think that's Josh Norman or Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
But it's Tremaine Johnson. You know who he plays for? The Jets.
The
Jets.
Okay. Yeah.
$14 million a year, $45 million guaranteed. As a cornerback that nobody really knows about, but that's the reason that his contract was never out there like that, because of, unfortunately, the way that the NFL promotes their defensive players. I mean, just like in the NBA, they don't promote solid defensive guards or defensive big men.
If you can't score, they don't care.
They don't care about you. Even though you could be the best defender in the league, but if you can't give them 20 points a game, they're not making you known out there. And
there's only one defensive player that the NFL really promotes, and it's J.J. Watt.
And I think I hate to say it, but because he's white. He is. He's marketable.
He's got that good American boy look.
Yes, he's marketable. He's not, you're not going, look at Jadeveon Clowney. They don't market him at all because the boy can hardly speak. He went to South Carolina, goddammit. But and unfortunately, that's what it is. They don't project any black defensive players like that.
Right.
That's why Jalen Ramsey, that's why I don't even care when he is so loudmouth, because I'm like, that's the only way he's going to get any kind of spotlight. First off, he's playing in Jacksonville.
Which no one cares about.
Yes. And then on top of that, you're a cornerback that is shut down, and you're not in the headlines for a crazy interception rate because they don't throw it to you.
Yeah.
Right.
First off, they can't even get the ball off because that front four is attacking so good that's why it makes the quarterback so great, because they can't even get and then when the balls do come to them, it's a chuck ball. Hopefully you get it, and it's 50-50 ball.
From the cornerback position, you become, the longer you have to hold a receiver, the less effective you become.
Yes.
So when you only got to hold a receiver for 4 seconds tops,
yeah,
you can be a stud.
Yeah, because he's gotten into his route yet, damn near.
Yeah, he can't build a separation.
No.
So we
that was definitely a good topic, because I honestly thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when I pulled up the stats, I was looking this morning, and Joe came downstairs. I'm like, dude, there's really no argument for it at this point in time,
But what we will say is that, and you mentioned this, defensive linemen are the cream of the crop as far as those contracts go.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, especially
How
when
important they are.
If the quarterback is going to be the highest paid player and the offense is going to run through them, you would want to pay the players that have the best chance of affecting the quarterback's ability to affect the game.
Yeah.
Defensive linemen are that.
And then middle linebacker.
Well, and a lot of these are like DN linebackers. They run that scheme. You know what I'm saying? Von Miller, Ezekiel is one of them. Justin Houston, Chandler Jones. They can all, and DeMarcus Lawrence from
those
Dallas.
edge linebackers.
Yes, they can either run the linebacker or the stand up DN. What do they call them? A stand up DN basically is what they pretty much consider them.
What they call them.
And it's crazy because the top 10 were all defensive linemen / outside linebackers.
Yeah,
You know,
blitzing linebackers.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah. And then the closest defensive back was 12, and that was Josh Norman.
Yeah.
And then if you're going true interior linebackers, it was like 15, 16, 17th down there. It was, I mean, so it's all D linemen that are getting these huge contracts, and therein lies why you don't know about it because they're not flashy players.
No.
Fletcher Cox is on here. Most people wouldn't really know who he is or who he really even plays for right now.
He's on my fantasy team last year.
Yeah, you know. Well, of course we also do independent. We also do
We
independent
got
defensive
IDP
players. Imagine if our league was just straight defense.
Yeah.
A lot more people wouldn't, of us.
We wouldn't understand.
Yeah, as much. But you know what I'm saying. So we know that. But so he's got a $36 million guaranteed contract.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a defensive line, that's why you don't hear him talking about nothing because they're getting paid. They're getting paid, bro. There's no bitching on them whatsoever. They're like,
They
no.
understand. So
I'm
Straight
happy.
up. Straight up.
So going back to Aaron Donald, do you think he deserves to be the highest paid defensive player? Knowing specifically that defensive linemen are the ones that get those big checks, do you think Aaron Donald should be the highest paid defensive player in the league?
It's hard because Von Miller got that contract
Yeah.
when he was labeled the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these guys are cream of the crop. I mean, Justin Houston, for instance.
Aaron Donald's in that conversation.
Yes,
Definitely.
that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
Aaron
yeah.
Donald, that's what I'm saying, and I'm making a case for him being the highest
Yeah.
paid because at this point in time, he is probably the best interior defensive lineman there is.
Yeah.
And if Von Miller got that contract, if Fletcher Cox got that contract, if Justin Houston got that contract,
J.J. Watt at the time?
why shouldn't he?
Yeah.
He should. And that defense is going to be,
Right.
I mean, with Sue next to him, who are you going to double
His
team?
job is going to be so much easier next year. So even regardless if you sign him to that deal or not, which I don't think he's going to play if they don't sign him.
No,
I think he's willing to sit out the entire year.
I will too. I don't care. I'll sit out.
It's not worth risking the injury.
No.
Right.
But if he does come back and he does play, he's going to have a phenomenal year just because you can't double team him.
Well, that, and then you think about this. They're, like I said, who are their cornerbacks now? Marcus Peters and Talib.
Yeah.
So you got them two shutdown corners, both shutdown corners, and then you're not giving the quarterback any time to throw. Aaron Donald's stats might not be that great in the sense of like sacks and stuff like that.
Because
but that's
he's
because they're
competing
going to
against
sling. They're going to get rid of that ball. They're going to do
Yeah.
a 3-step drop and get rid of that ball. So it
The
might
good-
reflect better on the cornerbacks than them.
The good
unfortunately.
teams are going to get the ball out quick.
Well, yes,
There are
but
quarterbacks that have it in their head they can't get the ball out in less than 5 seconds. They just
Yes,
can't.
there's some,
And they're
yes.
going to get eaten alive. What's going to happen is you're going to have that. There are going to be teams that are going to get rid of the ball quick. You're going to have your Aaron Rodgers, your Drew Breeses, those guys. They do that.
Yeah.
But he's also going to be competing getting to the quarterback for Ndamukong Suh, who is still not a slouch.
bro, no, he had a good year in Miami last year. He just went to Miami.
Yeah.
Right.
And people don't like to even get the thought of. They don't even want the taste of Suit in their mouth
Right.
because how dirty he is. And I think a lot of people stay
90%
away
of his
from,
dirty plays are against Jay Cutler, to be fair.
which I don't blame him because I want to beat the
And
shit out of
Aaron
him.
Rodgers. Didn't he step on Aaron Rodgers?
He might have.
Yeah,
It's
he
just-
did, but
like,
you know what?
stop on him.
But see, I love that intensity about him, and that's why I love him, and that's why I feel he goes under the radar a little bit because he's not a people person.
Wait. He came to press conference. I didn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't step on. I was stepping over him. No, you literally
you
stomped on
stepped
him like
on
you
his
were
nuts.
stomped the yard, boy. You were doing a dance move,
guys, that wasn't me.
you know. But he's not a people person, so people forgot about him
Yeah.
easy. And plus, he went to Miami, which they were irrelevant last year without Tannehill, especially. But you put him in a relevant scheme like this, and the man might produce double-digit sack numbers.
Good.
If you get 10 out of your defensive tackle, I will take that.
Legit.
Because there's some DNs that don't even get 10 tackles or 10
got-
sacks. I
you
mean,
got two guys that are capable of putting up those numbers.
Yeah.
But Aaron Donald, I mean, you got to pay him. You really do. He's
You can't have him not play.
at the moment he's played for your team, he has
Right.
been the best defensive player
And
from
what's-
day one.
and I know
in
he's
St. Louis.
He's a big part of that.
He's very upset because of the fact that they paid Brandon. They're going to pay Brandon Cooks.
They've been paying out money to everybody.
Yes, except him.
Yeah.
And same thing with Khalil Mack too.
Yeah.
He might be on the move. I was reading Packers because he's very upset. That's another reason of people not getting paid. And look what you're doing to your defensive players. Khalil
They're
Mack's the
leaving.
best defensive player on that team, and he wants to leave because they saw you brought in John Gruden for what? 10 years,
100 mil.
100 mil.
100 million.
And then and then people don't know this either. They brought in Doug Martin for a big contract too. Doug Martin? Really?
Right.
Doug Martin hadn't had a good season since his sophomore year.
Really? Doug Martin? So you're telling me Doug Martin's more important than me, Khalil Mack? No, I'm
Yeah.
done. So that,
Made a
there
great
goes, you know
point,
what I'm saying?
right.
The same thing with him.
Right.
They paid Sue a little bit of money, but they paid Talib and they paid Peters to come there. It's like, well, where's I'm the man that's been here.
I've already done it for
Yes.
you. I've not done it for anybody else. I've done it for you.
Yes, I'm not
Year
coming
in and year out.
I'm not coming seeing. Oh, now they're a
bro.
better team. Let me go to St. Louis. No, I was here.
Yeah.
Pay me. So I mean, if he don't
I had
play,
to deal with Jeff Fisher.
I like Jeff Fisher, but yeah, he had to deal with Jeff Fisher. he had to deal with the Rams when Tavon Austin was their best offensive weapon.
Oh God.
D-Mob.
Yeah.
You don't know D-Mob drafted him religiously.
All right. So there's one more. There's